In lane number 3 is car number 3, Chris Prouty. Ready, set, go!
In a short race, 1,000th of a second can make all the difference. The difference between a fleeting but precious moment inside the winner's circle and a lifetime outside it wondering, what if? And so despite the fact that his first race is only minutes away, Steve Schubart decides his vehicle needs more weight. With a borrowed steel washer, scotch tape, and a little faith, he and his race day mechanic bring the car up to 140.7 grams. A weighty vehicle, but still a legal one. I ask him if the track looks fast this March afternoon, but Schubart's a veteran. It's the car that counts, he says simply. A moment later, Schubart and his machine, a worker bee of a race car, in earth-tone, pine-colored rocket with more heart than hieroglyphics, are behind the starting peg. This is a lot of pressure. I'm running the starting gate on this baby.
Ready, set, go!
And then the races begin.
2, 1, 3!
In a series of head-to-head contests, Schubart's car sizzles down the short course, dueling racers known throughout the circuit for speed. Guys like Mike Truchon or Brian Mayo, whose silver racer looks so powerful one spectator in the crowd murmurs approvingly, "Give that thing enough fuel and I'll bet it goes into orbit." Schubart will never know if the washer, a flat piece of metal roughly the size of a city subway token, made the difference. The races were close. Two with Mayo so tight that not even the video cameras and stopwatches surrounding the finish line could determine a winner. But in the end, Steve Schubart's gritty car squeaked out a few key victories. And he took first place in the Weeblo Den and third place overall in the Cub Scout Pack's Pinewood Derby. This spring's race, held in Bristol's Holly Hall, was a warm-up of sorts for the Cub Scout District's annual competition in nearby Middlebury. But just as the Olympic trials for many athletes can mean as much as one moment in time in Torino, Italy, or a year in the minors can mean as much as 1 week in the Major League show, Saturday's race was an emotional competition. Sportsmanship always went out over standings, but that doesn't mean the races weren't tense. The Cub Scouts, all 6 to 10-year-olds, had taken identical blocks of nondescript pine and plastic wheels and, perhaps with a little help from mom or dad, built their own deeply personal, highly idiosyncratic cars. Of the 24 racing machines that graced the starting pegs, no two looked as if they were from the same automotive genus or species, or inspired by the same issue of Cub Scout Car and Driver. My personal favorite? This car. This designer decided to sacrifice aerodynamics to the food chain and replaced the front grille with a Peter Benchley Jaws-like front maw. And each boy brought to the Derby the hope that his car would speed over the 32-foot maple track first and electrify the Holly Hall crowd. "I love the Derby," says Don Gale, whose son Skylar is a part of the Pack's Wolf Den. "It's Thunder Road without the noise." But each also brought a tremendous sense of camaraderie, the sort of friendship in which fairness mattered more than who finally won. In the Schubart-Mayo face-offs for the Weeblo Blue Ribbon, two so close that a third was needed to determine the winner, it wasn't one of the adult judges who finally awarded the victory to Steve Schubart. It was Brian Mayo. Even in the third race, Mayo's and Schubart's cars seemed to cross the finish line simultaneously, and the judges were just about to insist on a fourth race. But then, in a voice as filled with enthusiasm as when he first entered the hall with his hopes and his cars, Mayo said the words that symbolized the spirit of the Derby. "Good race, Stevie! You won!"